We beat the squirrel earlier. Oh, good!
Yeah, good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do one of my films, right?
Oh no, Dad, thanks very much.
What, last night? Yeah. The lab that kept moving up and down and... That's right.
When I die.
And action!
Just remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving and revolving at 900 miles an hour. That's orbiting at 19 miles a second, so it's reckoned a sun that is the source of all our power. The sun and you and me and all the stars that we can see are moving at 1,000,000 miles a day in an outer spiral arm at 40,000 miles an hour of the galaxy we call the Milky Way.
Hello, Hemyock. Are you standing comfortably? Then I'll begin. Once upon a time, though not really so very long ago, and not at all so very far away, there lived a very small hazel dormouse who had its nest of leaves at the edge of Bennett's Wood, in the woodlands in the direction of Clayhyden, yet on the outskirts of Hemyock. This dormouse's name was Muscardinus avellanarius, though everyone who knew it simply called it Mus. One of the things that Mus most loved in all the world was to sleep. From late October until early May, Mus would lay curled up snugly in its nest, sheltered by a protecting base of old coppiced trees. Mus would dream of the warmer months when it could dance through the trees at night time, eating hazelnuts, insects, flower food and fruit while hardly ever touching the woodland floor. Mus knew that the feasting would allow for even more delicious sleep over winter, or even in the summer, should that season prove to be too cold or too wet. Mus was a most happy dormouse, at least until it decided to move from the far edge to the centre of Bennett's Wood, where it thought that the nesting would be better and the choices of food even more excellent. As Mus began settling into its new home, which was much better than the one it had before, and as it made ready to begin some hibernation, it heard the deep booming of a voice.
Answer me this. There is something in the forest.
The voice was asking curious questions, as if trying out the words to see how they sounded and what kind of sense they made.
And under root.
Unable to sleep due to the disturbance, Mus cautiously and uncharacteristically ventured out of its nest and made its way to the source of the voice. And Mus found something most unexpected, in that it was a massive, ancient oak tree that was doing the speaking. Mus clambered about in the boughs of the oak, squeaking with both delight and a little bit of fear of its newfound neighbour and potential new friend. Suddenly, as the mouse realised that the tree's tone had changed and that the tree was now directing the questions to Mus, it froze where it was on a branch, very like a miniature statue. The tree asked the dormouse,
Who are you? Where have you come from? What are you doing in this part of the woods? And most importantly, now that you are here, what is your name? Your excitement and joy as you leapt through my branches captivated me. I want to know more about you.
Yet Mus remained frozen on the spot, with the gentle quaking and shaking that often accompanies terror in small mammals when they think that they are in peril. The tree laughed heartily and stated,
There is nothing to fear here, my little one. I am but a tree, yet I am the beacon tree of this woodland, a Quercus roba, an English oak. I've been here for centuries. I am charged with the caretaking of all that surrounds me, and my name is Morel. Please, little one, do not be frightened. Who might you be?
As Morel had laughed and spoken, Muzz had felt a warmth of contentment begin to spread from its very core and out to the tips of its furry coat and tail. It was a warmth that seemed to come to Muzz from the tree itself. It was as if the memory of its time as a cuddled and coddled baby dormouse with its mother had come to life again. By the time that Morel had finished asking, Muzz was bursting to share its answers to the questions it had been asked, and then did share them without hesitation, without seeming to pause for breath, and with a twinkle of love and admiration for the tree in its eye.
I am just a little hazel dormouse who was born at the edge of the woods not so long ago and have been living there my entire life until now, when I decided to come to the centre of the woodland to see if there might be a better life here for me, and it seems that there certainly is the promise of a better life when I have found a friend like you so quickly. Oh, and my name is Muzz.
Once Muzz had finished, Morel laughed again and said with a smile,
Well, little Muss, I do think that it just may be that we could end up being very good friends. How much do you know about this woodland that we now share as a home?
Muzz paused, scratched its nose for a moment, looked down and then up, and then said,
I suppose that I don't really know very much at all. I know my nest to sleep in. I know the trees that have fruit, nuts, and yummy bugs for me to feed on. I know when to duck and hide or freeze when something might want to eat me. And now I know you, Morel, which feels like such a wonderful thing. Is there more that I should know?
Well, yes. Here, Muss, is the gift.
and as Morel seemed to begin to expand and reach outward towards the woodland with all of its limbs, roots and being, Muzz again felt a warmth begin to grow from within as it began to sense every element within the woodland and understand the beauty of the connections of all of the parts. As Morel and Muzz had begun to get to know each other more deeply, many other things had begun to appear simultaneously within the woodlands. There were new fairy rings of mushrooms from mycelial networks. Pixie shoes were appearing on the undersides of flowers. The trees and other flora were all having conversations. The fauna were flourishing and much, much more. The many, many parts making one interlinked whole. Morel then told Muzz the story of a further particular enchantment. It was of the enchantment of their most special woodland where they dwelt. Over time, Morel had witnessed humans who had passed through the woodlands who did not seem able to comprehend the ever-present interconnectedness of nature.
This ignorance of humans irked me, and I came upon the idea of a bargain that I could make with the pixies of Devon.
When the pixies found wayfarers or unwary travellers near to or in the woods, they would lead them towards Morel, who would trap them within its roots.
In exchange for the efforts of the pixies, they would always have a welcome refuge of safety in our woodland.
Once entrapped, the humans would be challenged to answer a riddle given to them by Morel in order to obtain their freedom.
Hidden in the answer to the riddles would be a way for the humans to be able to understand their part within the balance of nature.
Those that solved the riddles would always leave the woodland with newfound respect for nature and the magic that was ever present in the woodland and in the wider world around them. As time went by, the friendship of Morel and Mus flourished, with stories shared of adventures and dreams that they had had. Mus witnessed the riddling of humans often, eventually joining in whenever and however a dormouse could do as a guide and an inspiration. The human capture, riddling and release became a tradition for many, many years, eventually becoming a legend among humans. Morel, Mus and the pixies had continued with their enchanted efforts until, despite their best efforts, a time came where humans had completely forgotten how to listen at all, and the many distractions of human life made them look away, unable to hear or see much of the natural world around them. It was at that point that the woodland closed in on itself, keeping humans away and waiting until the time came again for the lessons of nature, enchantment and magic to be able to be shared. While in the dormant state of waiting for a new human awakening, Morel and Mus still continue to joyfully work together, making reminders of the magic and mystery of the natural world, celebrating the interconnectedness of everything. If one looks carefully through the year, one can see their wonders in so many things. In mushroom rings that spring up overnight, in patterns of frost that appear on leaves, in the infinite shapes of snowflakes, in the mists rising from the Culm Valley, in the many rainbows reaching across the Blackdown Hills, in the fragrance of apple blossom carried on the breeze, in the seemingly random groupings of wildflower in the fields, in the vast array of colours in the leaves of autumn, and just occasionally in the brightening of the twinkle of a star.
Okay, I can jump in from here. Ready? Here we go, Morel. 1, 2, 3, and whee!
So Alex, this is what they've come down So that just gives it rigidity.
Yeah. Strut there to try to pull it back down.
Yep. Yeah. That's okay.